Do you suffer from an unfulfilling job? Nick and Jada have also felt the same exact way until they transformed their unfulfilled jobs to a $300,000 per year food trucking business. And today's episode is all about you doing the same. Good morning, I am Nick.
Good morning, Jada. Nice
Nick.
to meet you.
Nice to meet you. So, what is your guys' story? How did this all start, and how did you guys get this Hen House kitchen food truck?
Yeah, so I think as far as like culinary industry goes, that's a little bit more my field. Jada did work serving in some restaurants for a little while in her younger years, but I've been a chef all my career. And prior to moving out here to the Nashville area, I was out in the Napa Valley and I was the executive chef for Goose and Gander.
Wow, that is pretty cool.
Yeah, so this is our commissary kitchen downtown Columbia. And this is where we do some of our prep. This is also where we get our deliveries. And a little extra refrigeration space as well.
Awesome. So what were the total startup costs for a Hen House, and how did you finance that investment?
Sure. We bought the truck a couple years old, almost brand new, and it cost us $150,000 just for the truck. The wrap, another $12,000, and then just branding, which you could tell we have some really great branding, and that was another $10,000 to $15,000 depending on how you look at it.
Wow.
So
you know,
all in, you know, we're right around 175.
Okay.
All in, and with the truck, the $150,000, we did finance that. So we put 20% down on that.
Okay.
And we financed the rest through a company.
Yeah, now 170, it's almost, you can buy a house for that kind of money.
Oh yeah,
but this
absolutely.
is a generating machine.
Yeah, that's right.
It's like a restaurant on wheels, so we thought definitely worth the investment.
Yes. So what's one piece of advice that you would share that you wish you would have known sooner?
Yeah, I think, you know, starting with a good working capital, we put a lot of our money, our personal money, into a bigger, newer truck with all the bells and whistles. I would definitely suggest, or you know, for anybody that is looking at doing this, to make sure that you have the right working capital and that you're not trying to look for it after you've started. Come into it with it.
Okay.
Nick, this is beautiful. Where are you taking us? Yeah, man, we're taking you to Leaper's Fork. Leaper's Fork is this really neat little unincorporated town right outside of Nashville, south of Nashville.
So how many services like this do you attend to a week?
These events we do about half of these events a week, and so 2 to 3 times a week.
Okay, and does that typically cover all your expenses?
No, it doesn't.
You guys, so did you hear that? So these events do not cover all the expenses, so wait here to find out how have you turned this truck into a profit machine. All right, you guys, so at what point did you realize that the Hen House is gonna make it? I mean, it's gonna crush it and be super successful. And how long did it take?
Yeah.
It was really fast, actually, because we put it out there to our community really early on as like a coming soon, trying to build some excitement, that people they were so excited for a new concept. And we were booked before the wrap was even finished on our truck.
Right.
No way.
Yeah, the truck wasn't even in operation, and she already had us booked, you know, a couple months out. And then also our grand opening, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Our
that's
grand
when
opening
that's when we realized, okay, this is gonna work. People are loving the food, they're raving about it, and we had a really good response.
Really good turnout. Awesome. I think also because one of our goals was to be able to support other small businesses in our area and local farms. And so by supporting other small businesses, it really brought in our community to also be very supportive of us and our new concept and launching our business. So I think that really helped a lot.
So when you first started this business, obviously you had a lack of capital going for you. So I am wondering, what did you guys do to stay on a tight budget? And there's other people that are wanting to start this business. What advice can you offer them that, hey, this is what we're doing or we've done that worked?
Getting creative with different sources of revenue.
Oh, okay.
So we started to do grab and goes for different markets around the area. We started like a supper club, and we're doing private dinners. So things outside of just the truck.
Okay.
So creating different revenue streams. You know, something that we recently even thought about was YouTube. So we got our first YouTube video out, and so that's kind of thinking into the future of like other sources of revenue that we could drive outside of just a la carte sales.
So your YouTube account is going to help you generate revenue and pay for these small expenses going forward.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool. For someone who wants to start a truck and have limited finances, what are the best options that you guys can suggest to the viewers? And I mean, are there any investors that you might hook up with, or there's other niches that you guys can share with?
Sure. I mean, obviously the most traditional would be going to a bank, but not everyone can do that. And
Yeah.
so having some different private lenders, whether it be somebody that's just like recognizes you for what you're doing and really loves your food.
Like a family member or something?
And that's the other thing I was going to say, like a family member,
Okay.
a friend. And then there's like less traditional, like crowdfunding, you know, is another way of being able to go. And another thing that you could do that we did is we actually financed our truck. And we put 20% down on a truck. There's a company out there called Commercial Highway, and they will actually finance the build out of a truck.
How convenient.
Yeah, made it really nice for us.
So what is one mistake that you guys made early on that has impacted your growth, and what did you learn from it?
Yeah. I think, no, go ahead.
So
Just one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just one. We took every event that we possibly could. That was like, it kept us very busy, and it was very exciting at first. We're like, look at our calendar, it's full. But you know, we really soon realized that like not every event was a good event for us.
Okay.
And so learning who our customers were and where our niche was, yeah.
And also setting boundaries and,
Yeah.
and learning to say no. Because when you're just getting started, you want to say yes to everything that comes your way.
Yes, yes.
And it's almost out of like, okay, if we don't get something scheduled, then, you know, are we going to make money this day? Are we going to be, you know, we want to get our name out there. But like Nick said, not every event is a successful event, and you almost spin your wheels. And then we, at the beginning, became a little burned out because we were just going. And some days it just wasn't even like a productive day, but it was a learning experience. And, you know, we learned and we
learned
know
what
now.
to say yes to and what
Yeah.
to say no to.
Okay,
Yeah.
so if somebody is thinking about doing this, is the best suggestion or advice to just go out there and try it, and then you decide which one is good and which one is not, or what kind of tips can you throw out
I
there?
think that's the thing. You kind of do have to go out there and see who your clientele is.
Yeah.
For us, especially being that our concept is so much different, so finding that clientele that is a little bit more health conscious and that does support eating local and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And for somebody else that is just getting started, I would say also it's really important to place a value on your time going out, where at the beginning Nick and I did not have a minimum for our truck. We just wanted to get our name out there, and so we did not require a minimum, and that really backfired on us. So I would say know that your time is valuable, your business is valuable, and you do need to require a minimum to go out to different functions. Yeah.
Okay. All right, so it's mostly you two in the business every day, all day. How do you deal with the stress of the leap of faith, and what makes it worth it?
Yeah, the fear of staying in a position that was super unfulfilling to us and just was extremely stressful, and our schedule was absolutely insane working for somebody else. I think that the fear of staying in that space in our life was scarier than taking the leap of faith to start this business. And although it's stressful in its own ways, and there are a ton of pros and cons, the pros do outweigh the cons because we're our own boss. We can make our own schedule. We have a lot of flexibility. We have more time, you know, to spend with each other because we're working together. We are doing everything together.
That's so sweet.
And yeah, so it definitely is worth it.
When we moved out to Nashville, it was different than what I was doing back in Napa.
Okay.
And it just wasn't fulfilling. And I'd come home every day and like just not happy.
Miserable.
Yeah.
And she's like, let's just do something else, you know? And that's kind of where the idea of the food truck came about.
I think it's great because a lot of people right now are thinking, what can I be doing that's away from my 9-to-5 job and focus
Right.
on my own gifts and talents?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
So what is your guys' biggest regret doing this business? Knowing
yeah.
what you guys know now, if you're going to start over again, what is the one or two things you're like, this is what we're doing or changing?
Absolutely. Yeah. Bookkeeper. From the beginning, we should have started with a bookkeeper and we tried to do it all ourselves. Once we got that bookkeeper it changed the game completely for us.
did.
Oh, nice.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How'd you guys find them?
They were recommended locally through somebody in our community that was using them who had a small business as well. And she just came in, got us back on track, because when you're starting a business and there's so many different parts of the puzzle, if that's not your area of expertise, which it's neither of ours, things can get messy really quick financially. And so you don't see everything on paper or organized. And so once we shifted and brought a bookkeeper on board, it allowed us to keep all of our numbers really organized, and it helped us to save a lot of money. And so it really shifted things for us from a financial standpoint.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your brand. So is it important to have a story for your brand, and how did all this come up?
Yeah, I think it's really important to have a story, because it makes it a lot more relatable for our customers, and to know our story and our background, I think just makes our concept more special, and it makes them feel more connected to what we're bringing to the community. And our branding, as you can tell, has a lot of the farm to truck vibe to it. We wanted to go with something that felt like it was an old school kind of like dairy farm look to it. And it was also important that we put where it was established in Columbia, because this is where we were born and where we started this company. So.
And I think it's a great story. I mean, because really what you're doing is telling the people, hey, this is from the farm straight to the table, without processing and everything else.
Right.
That's right.
Yep.
That's incredible.
So Nick, what are the best ways to, let's say, attract new customers? Like, is there something you guys are doing to market to them, to bring them into your business and do those private events that we talked about?
So I think social media is the biggest thing for us. My wife has been really good about Instagram, has been a huge platform for us. In this area, Facebook is big, and so we try to be present in Facebook as well. And then our newest thing would be YouTube.
So how do you have time to do the YouTube?
Yeah, right. So, well, luckily we have this amazing guy that came to us and really just was interested in filming us. And he's been fantastic. Wow. So he started by doing photography at some of the events that we've been doing, and we were so blown away. Asked us if he could do a video, and I said, sure, like, go and do a video of the truck. So we ended up posting a couple of them on Instagram, and I thought, this is really cool, and like, this could be pretty neat. People want to see this stuff on YouTube.
Yeah, absolutely.
The other thing too is, like, when my wife and I first started our business, we went on the YouTube, tried to find things on food trucks. There really wasn't anything. You guys were like the only people that had something posted about food trucks. You know, you had a couple of them, but there really isn't a lot out there about it. And so we thought that, how neat would that be for people to be able to see what's happening in like everyday, sort of scenario on the board.
Sure. Yeah, excellent. And hopefully in the near future, we'll have more food trucks where people can learn from you guys. Yeah, you guys.
Absolutely.
You guys have been featured in a magazine and radio interviews.
Yeah.
How did you guys do that, and how can other business owners do the same?
I think the way that we put ourselves out there through social media and using certain hashtags and just really becoming involved in our community and letting people know about some of the awards and accolades that Nick has received as a chef really made a lot of these magazines and newspapers and different radio stations a little bit more intrigued and interested in interviewing us to hear more about our concept. So that really helped us, I think, to get into that position to where, we were interviewed and yeah.
Perfect. Social media guru.
Yeah. So if you have any accolades from your previous experience as a chef or business owner, tell people about it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, you guys, this is the Fan Blitz. So these questions are coming from the viewers, and you guys have 10 seconds to answer them. Are you ready?
We're ready.
Yeah. All right, so Euros Lokovich asks, how did you decide that this location where you operate can bring you a good amount of customers and income?
So in Leaper's Fork, all of the restaurants are closed on Tuesdays, and so we were invited by the community to come out to do a food truck Tuesday.
Perfect. JR Antonio asks, did you have experience working in the food industry?
Yes, I did. A little over 20 some odd years.
Okay, and how do you develop your recipes?
What grows together goes together, just the flavor profiles that I know work really well together. That's how we create them.
Improlife asks, what do you do to keep your costs low?
Full utilization of food.
Bowise asks, how do you manage to attract attention and consistent customers?
Social media.
Boom, good job, you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So you guys also rent this commissary kitchen. How does it make it worth for you guys to have this space?
Sure. Well, for one, it's a place for us to park our truck, which is huge. And then it allows us to have a place for our deliveries. So a business, an address, a place where our purveyors could come and drop off our produce while we're not even here. You know, we might be off at an event somewhere, and they're able to come in and drop off our produce or meat or whatever it is that's coming in.
Okay. Are there any other benefits of having a commissary kitchen?
Yeah, extra prep space for sure. So one of our big things with the truck is catering. And so when we start catering, we need a lot more space to prep. And so just extra prep room is huge. A larger stove and another oven and things along those lines.
That's wonderful. Yeah. And typically, how much would a place like this rent?
So here in this area, it's $500 a month.
Okay.
Which is very, very good.
That is so reasonable.
Yeah.
You go north of here into Nashville, and you're probably looking at about double that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Jada, so what is one piece of advice that has completely changed your guys' business?
I think for somebody that's going into this type of business, or really any type of business, go for it. If you're going to do it, go all in. There were some fears for us diving into this and taking this leap of faith. But once you're in it, you realize it's actually not as scary as you make it out to be in your mind.
Okay.
And so I think once you take that step, everything else will kind of fall into place and follow. And it's just like, don't think too far out into the future. You just need to take baby steps to get to where you want to be. It's worth it.
That's cool. So did you guys have any followers that you were looking and getting ideas from? Like how did you come to this step here?
Yeah, well, it's kind of ironic because actually we watched a few of your videos as we were getting started. They were really, they were really inspirational to us, honestly. And we were trying to find different videos out there to just kind of get like words of wisdom or, some advice in getting started. And you guys kept popping up. And so
And I absolutely love what you said. Just, it's a passion that both of you have and just go for it and go all in.
Yeah.
Right.
Awesome. Thank you.
What is your revenue for an average month?
Average is around 30,000. I'd say anywhere from 25,000 to 35,000, depending on catering, depending on the season. And during the real slow months, you might be hitting about 20,000.
And what are the main expenses that covers, and how much of that is your profit?
Your main expenses are going to be food costs, labor costs, and then just kind of your all-around overhead of what it costs to run the truck, gas, your kitchen, your insurance, all that kind of stuff, kind of all lumped up. Your permits. I'd say about our food cost is running about 30% right now. It really just depends. I like to be lower. Being out here where we're using local meat, like local chickens and stuff, we're not hitting a super high profit margin off the chicken like we would like to.
Yeah.
But we also want to serve something that we're proud of.
Yeah.
So we kind of take that as a hit, and we're about 25% labor. And then I'd say about the rest of it, somewhere around 25%, lumped up into everything that I was just talking about.
Okay.
So you might be hitting around a 20% profit, just depending on the month that you're getting into.
Okay. So about 20% profit margin.
All right, you guys. So how important is a proper mindset for your business, and what did you guys do to develop that?
super important. It can be challenging at times, and if you don't have tunnel vision to like get to that end goal, and you're not self-disciplined, or you don't have enough encouragement along the way in this journey, it can be a bit tough. And so I think just really keeping a positive mindset, whether that be getting encouragement from your business partner or friends, family, church, wherever
customers.
Customers. You do need that little bit of like validation along the way, just to keep you going in a positive direction. So I feel like just, some support, but also staying like healthy personally. So whatever it is you need to like do to de-stress in your life and stay like really grounded, that's very important also.
Yeah, that is so good because we all have bad days.
Yeah.
And those customers that for some reason might not enjoy something about the food, so it's so important to have, you know, and the right mindset and think on all things that are good, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely.
So you mentioned that these events that we're going to, they don't cover all your expenses. So what have you incorporated into your business that has helped you cover all the expenses plus more?
Yeah, so events, catering, that is where the money is at for us. Now, with that being said, the a la carte business, taking the truck out to these type of to this type of a place where we're doing a la carte business for the public is essential. 'Cause that's how we're getting the catering job. There it is, you know. But yeah, the catering jobs are where the money's at.
Perfect. So you guys, did you hear that? You go out there in the market and to get these private events where you can be hosting, and that is where the money's at.
So 1 year has passed by. What are you guys' worst memories and your best parts of it?
Yeah. So I'd say the worst would be, you know, weather. You never know what you're gonna get. You know, it could be raining one day and it could be sunny the next, and that really determines how much business we're gonna get.
Yeah, and you mentioned the tornado coming.
Oh yeah, actually, yeah.
Yikes.
Right in the middle of service, we had to take shelter. So you just
That
never
was fun.
know what you're gonna get.
Yeah.
Actually, in the middle of a health inspection too.
Wow.
So the health inspector actually took shelter with us.
Yeah.
We still got 100% though.
Nice.
Yeah.
Score. What'd you
We
feed
sure
them?
did.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
Here, have a chicken while you're waiting.
That's right. That's right. So weather, for sure, was a very difficult thing for us, and hence why we also had to figure out other, you know, revenue streams. Best is I gotta work with my wife. And,
Sweet
yeah,
thing.
and yeah, it's just kind of it's been great, like growing together, not only just personally, but you know, on a business level too. So
Yeah.
it's been awesome.
Absolutely. And connecting with all of our customers who a lot of them have become our friends, and knowing that we're providing a more health conscious option to our community it's very rewarding and fulfilling for us.
The smiles on their faces, you know, the reaction that they have when they eat our food, and they're just like, "That's the best food I've ever had," and it just makes you feel good.
Yeah.
You're
Yes.
feeling good. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I gotta say, I've tried your food, so your food is bomb.com.
Oh, thanks,
So
man.
much.
And I also gotta say, like, I've observed your customers, they all come happy. It's almost like they're waiting for you guys to arrive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they're giving you guys hugs and high fives. I'm
Yep.
like, this is so beautiful. So keep on pressing, you
Awesome.
guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Of course. All right, you guys, that wraps up our episode for today. So I hope you have learned a ton and how you can start your own food truck business today. And you can also watch our other videos with Carlos at Don Lucho's and how he started his own business. Till next time.